Yes, that's right. It's Joe here live for Joyrider TV, back with some more Q&A, where I am going to be attempting to be answering your most challenging questions on the topic of catamaran sailing. Yes, that's right. Something strange going on for some reason. Everything is backwards, but not going to worry about that right now. We're going to continue forwards because that's where we're going. So I just thought I would kick off with what I'm going to call the main featured question / topic, which is the one that has been advertised. And this has come in from Aquatic CSGO, who says, have you got any tips for hoisting and dropping the spinnaker on a single-handed catamaran? Trying to keep control of the tiller and hoist and drop the spinnaker at the same time can be a challenge. I often find myself having to jam the tiller even with a knee or a foot in order to get the spinnaker up or down. Not doing so seems to cause a lot of wayward steering. Yes, and that would do. So I think when we're looking at any spinnaker boat, before we even put it in the water, I think it's really valuable just to spend a bit of time making sure that everything is running as smoothly as it possibly could be. So the better you have the boat set up in the first place, it's going to make everything so much easier, so much smoother. So in no particular order, the first thing that you could look at is the actual spinnaker sock. That is the soft part of the spinnaker chute where the spinnaker goes in and out from. And the important thing there is that you have the sock pulled as tight as possible. So if this is the bowsprit, there's the opening of the spinnaker chute, bit more bowsprit. Then we have the sock that comes back here. If the sock isn't tight, then basically all the way down the sock, it will have these little creases in it. And what all of those little creases are doing is adding friction to the spinnaker when you're pulling it up or down. So by pulling it tight, using whatever tensioning lines you've got that pull it this way, it's going to take those creases out and your spinnaker is going to go up and down so much easier. So that is number one, is the sock. Number two, I would say, is the halyard length. So with the halyard is, in English, a halyard is any rope that pulls a sail up. So for the spinnaker, it's going to be the spinnaker halyard. And what we want to do with the halyard is we want to have it kind of as short as possible, because if it's too long, it's much more likely to get tangled up. We want it as short as possible, but so that it doesn't distort the spinnaker when the spinnaker's up. So if this is our spinnaker, we'll have 3 retrieval points that the halyard, the other end of the halyard attaches to. So it will go on to that in a minute. But what we want to make sure is if the patches are on the, let's say, the right hand side of the spinnaker, there's the bowsprit. Gosh, not very good, is it? There's the bowsprit there. On the right hand side of the spinnaker, when this retrieval line is on that, or when the spinnaker is, when you're sailing on starboard tack, the retrieval line is going to be on the inside, and it means it doesn't have to go as far Whereas when you jibe and the retrieval line is on the outside of the spinnaker, you're going to need probably another 2 meters of rope. Otherwise, this is going to be too tight and you're going to have a big crease caused by this line down the middle of the spinnaker. So that is kind of our minimum length for the retrieval line. But what we don't want, if we have a look at the trampoline layout here, if this is the trampoline, there's the mast just there. What we want is the spinnaker halyard to come backwards and then do some sort of shape like this, and here it will disappear under the trampoline to become the retrieval line up the chute to become this part. The reason why we want it to come back and not, this is the knot way, and not just to go from there to there, is because it's really helpful if we've got plenty of rope to grab hold of, especially when it comes, well, hoisting and dropping it. So if we've just got it going straight from there to there, it's too short. It's going to be really, really awkward to grab hold of and have a good pull on it. So what we would have is here we'd have it run through maybe 2 blocks or maybe just 1 block in the middle. Depends on again, depends on the length of the halyard. If you want to have a longer halyard, which is going to have less chance of this creasing, then having it go through 2 blocks and then those blocks to be going out diagonally, attached with shock cord, is a good system. And making sure that the shock cord is tight enough so that these blocks, when it's pulling tight, can never come together, because that could jam and cause you problems. The other way is with it going to a single block. I hope everyone's following me, by the way. And by the way, I will be checking in with everybody who's checking in once we've finished talking about this. So the other way, which perhaps is a bit more simple to rig up, and perhaps we should have just gone for this one in the first place, just with a single block or perhaps a ring at the back, and then maybe we'd have that on elastic going to the corners so it can stretch a bit, which is going to make it much easier for when you're hoisting or dropping. So that is number one. Number 2 is make sure the halyard is the right length. And number 3 would be just check all the blocks. So the blocks, they're generally small blocks. What would they be? Not 20, what would they be? 27 mil blocks, maybe 22 millimeter blocks. And especially this block at the top, not to scale, that goes through a lot of work in its life. And what can happen is the sheath, which is the what you might call the roller in that block, that can get kind of burnt out over time. And if the block doesn't run smoothly, it's going to make it incredibly difficult to pull up or down the spinnaker. So it's well worth, what would I say, once every, you could do it every time you rig the spinnaker. That's probably a good idea, is check the blocks. For this one at the top, you don't have to tip the boat over to check it. All you need to do is get hold of both ends of the halyard rope when the spinnaker's not up. So if we take the halyard rope like this, grab both ends, put a little bit of tension on it, and just run it like this so that the rope is rolling around the block, and see if there's any resistance there. And if there's resistance there without even having the spinnaker attached, that means that there's a pretty good chance that you need to replace that block. Because otherwise, when you go to hoist the spinnaker, it's going to be much more difficult than it needs to be. And if you are going to drop the spinnaker, again, it's going to be much more difficult than it needs to be. The block on the end of the spinnaker pole, also much easier to check because you can actually see that one. But again, run the rope through it, because what happens sometimes is some of the ball bearings become a bit flat, because the blocks which have, I think they claim that the ball bearings are made from Teflon, I think, that those ball bearings can wear flat, and when they've worn flat, it doesn't roll properly. So these blocks would probably, if you put new blocks on, they should, in the real world, I would say, probably last for about 5 years. But a lot of people's boats are older than 5 years, so there is a chance that there might be some wear and tear that's been going on. So that's going to help. What else is going to help? I think for setup on land, that's it. Check your sock, check your halyard, check your blocks, because at the end of the day, that is all there is. And in fact, check your spinnaker as well. And when I say check your spinnaker, make sure that it's rigged correctly on land, of course, but also when it's convenient, if you've been sailing in salt water and your spinnaker has been made salty with the water, if the spinnaker is really salty, it's going to be really crusty, it's going to be bigger than it should be, and it's going to be more difficult to pull up and down. So make sure you do, if your spinnaker's got soaked in salt water especially, wash it and dry it before the next session. That's going to make life a lot easier. And if it has got wet in fresh water, just make sure you do dry it afterwards, because the spinnaker's not going to appreciate getting just left wet somewhere, like anything really, I suppose. All right, so that would be the preparation. And then when we're actually sailing the boat and we're going to put the spinnaker up and down, or firstly, when we're going to hoist the spinnaker, what we have to bear in mind before we hoist the spinnaker is it is commitment on a single-handed boat, especially because once the spinnaker's up, it means we've got our hands full. So if perhaps if there's any reason why you don't want to have too much going on, then perhaps leave it for a bit and put it up later, if that makes any sense at all. But most important, once we've decided we are going to commit to putting the spinnaker up, is we want to make sure we've got plenty of space, because we are going to be temporarily out of control, not out of control, but a little bit restricted in our ability to maneuver. So before we hoist, we're going to put the boat almost straight downwind. Is that the right tack? We want to... That's the right tack. So it's all of most modern catamarans are laid out for hoisting on starboard tack, because in a racing situation, you would be going, like, you would have just gone round this buoy here to port, so you'd need to hoist the spinnaker on starboard tack. So preparation points before you start hoisting, making sure you've got plenty of space. We want to first, before we hoist the spinnaker, get the main sheet in the right position, which if it's a light wind, then perhaps you might like to ease the traveller about yay from the centre line, and have the main sheet a little bit eased, cleat it, get the boat almost straight downwind. In fact, we could go more than that, like this. And then once you've got the boat almost straight downwind, you've got the mainsail set, you've got your dagger boards up like that, then is the time to start hoisting. And as Aquatic CS Goo said, he has to put his foot on it. But what I generally do is I would get the boat on the correct course and then sit on the tiller extension, because it's only going to be for a course of how many seconds? I don't know, 5 seconds to pull the spinnaker up. And just, if you've done all these checks so it's running as smoothly as possible, then you should get the boat on the correct course, sit on the tiller extension, pull the spinnaker up, then grab the tiller extension again, adjust the course if necessary, grab the spinnaker sheet, and then start trimming. There we go. And to be honest, when you're coming to drop the spinnaker, this is cutting a fairly short story short, is when you come to drop the spinnaker, it's exactly the same. Make sure you've got plenty of space. Don't leave your drop too late. So if you're going around a course and you're going to drop the spinnaker, add another, maybe if you were going to leave 5 boat lengths, if you're in a double-handed boat to drop the sail, perhaps rather than 5, you should be leaving 8 boat lengths in the single-handed boat if you're going to drop the spinnaker. And just make sure that you've got enough space so you can bear away for the drop as well. We want to have the wind behind us. It's going to make everything much easier. But the bottom line is, yes, you're going to need to sit on it for a very short time. So that is the bottom line. I think that pretty much covers it. So yeah, key point, get the boat set up before you hoist the kite. Loads of space, set the main sheet, sit on the stick, pull it up, get in control, and the same for the drop. There we go. I hope that helps. Thanks very much for your question. So I'm just checking in with everybody who is checking in right now. We've got Max on board in Rosenheim, Germany. See you in Vasiliki Beach in 6 days. Great stuff. Looking forward to seeing you, Max. It's going to be a good time. There's been, I'm not going to lie to you, this week has been pretty champagne for catamaran sailing down in Vasiliki Bay. If you saw the Hobie 15 video, now that is some Hobie 15 champagne that we've been experiencing this week. What else has been happening in Vasiliki Bay? Yeah, just this morning I did actually participate in the Wildwind race day. Every Friday, Wildwind Sailing Holidays, which is where all these videos are based from on Joyrider TV. They have a race day, which is like a mixed fleet. So they have a catamaran fleet and a monohull fleet. So I went out for my first race with the new crew. His name's Ben, on Bad Boy 94, the Tornado, and did, I think, 4 races on the Tornado. We did film one of those, so that should be coming on Sunday. And yeah, it was very good, nice racing, good size fleet. I think we had 2 Tornadoes, 5 Tigers, and I think 4 16s in the catamaran fleet, which for an average Friday at the Wildwind Beach, that was pretty good. Nice wind, 8 knots, quite steady. So good. So yeah, so keep an eye out for that video coming on Sunday. But on the topic of Bad Boy 94, the Tornado, we are going to be, the intention is that we're going to be going to the World Championships in Italy in July. And, you know, this is a reoccurring thing that when I'm intending to go to one of these events, I do have to ask you guys for a little bit of financial support, because it is very expensive to go to these events. And to be quite honest, just I can't afford to go without your financial help. So I've set up a crowdfunding page. You'll find the link to that in the video description below. So if you want to see these videos coming from the Tornado World Championships in July, then if you could help, that would be absolutely great. Just follow the link below. Thank you very much. All right, we got Jason on board from Long Island, New York. Great to have you with us, Jason. Hope you're having a good day. Aaron's with us. It's tomorrow for Aaron already. He's in New Zealand. Aaron's a channel member. That's why his name is in green. Also a channel member, we have Hanny in Amsterdam. See you in a couple of days in Vasiliki. Great stuff. Looking forward to that, Hanny. Anybody can become a channel member. It's just a subscription to the Joyrider TV channel. And one of the key benefits of being a channel member is, as soon as I've completed a video, I'll upload it and it will be available to channel members immediately. So you might get to see some of the videos, like sometimes as much as 2 days in advance of the actual launch time when they're due to be launched to the public. So it's a nice perk there. And you also get custom emojis to use in the live chat. And it's a great way of supporting the channel. Thank you very much. We got Renee on board. Greetings and good evening from Germany. Time for a beer, I think that emoji says, and I could heartily agree with you. It has been, for some reason, when it's sunny, it makes having a beer at the end of the day seem very appealing. Don't know why that is. All right, we got Scott on board. All right, Scott's going to Maui. Nice. I'll be in the neighborhood next 2 weeks. Would love to do a ride along. Oh, yes, this is great. This is one of my favorite things about the Joyrider TV global community. Ryan says, Scott, let's do that. Ryan, also channel member. It's just so nice knowing that you guys are kind of getting to know each other very much remotely. So when you go somewhere else, there's a chance you're going to get a sale where you're going, because you'll have met people through the Joyrider TV global community. So gives me a very warm feeling inside, knowing that I have helped to bring people together. Nice. All right, so on to the next preloaded question, and this one comes from Michael, who says, all right, here we go. It's a mast question, so we're not going to need that. I dropped my mast. It bent when it hit the trampoline. Ooh. It has a kink in it. Is it shot? Shot meaning ready for the bin, broken, or can I still use it after trying to straighten it? I'm a novice. I only sail on a small lake when thing is about 10 miles per hour. I've so far only used the mainsail, not the jib. All right. So, yeah, it's a tough one, the kink in the mast, because if you've got a bent mast with a kink in it, it makes straightening the mast a little bit of a high risk maneuver, because if this is our mast, we've got it on the floor, and maybe this is the hounds. The hounds is the fitting where the rigging attaches. This is the mast base. This is the top of the mast here. It basically all depends on where the kink is in the mast. And really, the higher up on the mast the kink is, the sort of safer it is to continue using the mast. So if the kink is above the hounds and it's like a dent, like up here, then that's pretty safe, because this part of the mast up here is there's not so much load up there, whereas the further we get down the mast, the more load there is, and the more chance that that dent in the mast, like if it was here, that dent in the mast, when we pull the main sheet in, like if we think of the mast, there's the boat, there's the mast, when it's rotated, so maybe the dent is on what would be the back side of the mast here. If it's rotated like that, there's the sail, and we sheet in, then there is a chance that that part of the mast, it naturally wants to go forwards, so the mast could actually snap. Now, quite recently, I did see, I can't remember who it was or what type of boat it was, but somebody that had a very nice, successful repair to a fairly similar situation, using a stainless steel plate, which was riveted over the crease, the dent in the mast. And I think that would extend the life of the mast by a very long time, as long as it was done nicely. So if you've got a dent, which, let's say your dent is like this kind of width, then you'd probably want your plate, hold on, let's work this out, to be 10 times the length. So it would be like that sort of size section for a crease in the middle. And then, of course, if you're riveting that into the mast, you're going to need to seal it as well to make sure the mast doesn't start leaking. Now, if you've got a dent or a crease in the mast and the mast is bent and you try to straighten the mast, there's a very good chance that in trying to straighten the mast, you're actually going to break the mast. So, yeah, that is a really tough one. And if there is the possibility to take your mast to a mast builder, if there's like a yacht marina nearby, a lot of yacht marinas will work with either a mast builder or at least a rigging kind of service. And a lot of rigging services do have machinery which is made for straightening these things. So well worth asking to see if you can get it done professionally, because that could really extend the life of your mast. So there we go. Thank you very much. Sorry for your mast. All right, we got Toot on board in Central Texas. With the rains, my lake is coming back up. That's good. Need a bit of water. We're definitely a bit short of water here on the Greek island of Lefkos, where there hasn't been a lot of rain the whole winter, and there's a bit of chat that water might be an issue at some point. I'll keep you posted on that. All right, we've got Sam on board. Thanks for your tips with the spinnaker. Definitely check the setup before I next go racing. Yeah, I think everything can be made so much better, especially with any boat spinnaker system. What we're aiming for is for the spinnaker to be able to go up and down very easily. It should never feel like an effort, which I know most people who have spinnakers are going to say, well, we're not going to get that on my boat. It is definitely an effort. So, but if we can make it less of an effort, that can only be a good thing. Another thing, when you're pulling the spinnaker up or down, whether you're sailing solo or with somebody else, always be kind of vigilant, be aware of where the ropes are and where you're putting your feet, where you're sitting, because one of the most consistent mistakes that maybe less experienced spinnaker sailors are making is when they're hoisting or dropping the spinnaker, half the time they'll be standing on the other end of the halyard, or the sheet will be stuck, or something will be restricting the spinnaker going up and down. So just really make sure you're aware of where you're putting your body parts, so that you're not restricting the spinnaker going up or down. So I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, hold on, is that a new fancy looking cup that Joe's got? And the answer is yes. This is this particular one isn't actually available at Joyrider TV, but these, when I was in America, I did notice that every single person drinks their drink out of something like this. They have it in the center of their massive truck, and everybody is always drinking out of a cup like this. So, you know, I thought we're going to have those at totaljoyrider.com, and the default design on these is actually what I'm wearing here, the speed stick design. In fact, I've got the sticker on the telephone there, like that. So that's the design. So it would look like that, but not. But like with everything at totaljoyrider.com, you can customize it. So I've customized this one. This is commemorating the new sail colors on Bad Boy 95, the Hobie 16. And as we rotate, here we go. This is the rotating gimbal. Says Bad Boy 95. And then look what we've got there. We've got all of the different companies who I've been working with, who have been helping me. And I think that looks absolutely mint. Look at the quality there. Fantastic. So since I've got this, I haven't put it down. Sorry for the shameless advertising, but to be honest, I haven't got any more preloaded questions. There's no questions in the live chat. So I might just have to leave this here for today. So on that note, I will say thanks everybody for tuning in live. Thank you everybody for watching this later on who couldn't make it here live. And I will be back on Sunday with some Tornado mixed fleet racing video, which will be quite entertaining. So keep your eye out from that. As you may have noticed, or may not, all of the videos that go out now go out at the same time as the Q&A goes out, which is 6:30 in the afternoon Greek time. So whatever that means for you, that is when the videos are going out as well. All right, Christian's on board. Nice to have you with us, Christian, but I am just off. So thanks very much, and have a great weekend, everybody. I hope plenty of you are getting some sport this weekend. Keep it safe out there, and if you're sending it, get on the speed stick. Speed stick needs you. Speed stick is looking a little bit slim. Thanks very much.